Welcome all. This is special episode of Trailer Watch. I guess it's not special. It's a trailer watch. It's a game. It's a trailer. It's pretty standard fare as far as the show goes. I guess what I mean by special is that we weren't able to get together over the weekend to do a podcast. So, excuse me. I figured I want to do something still kind of discussion based. And anything Star Wars, I'll probably be able to get some legs out of time-wise. So I'd love to take an in-depth look. I've got all the information that we currently have, or most of the information we currently have on Star Wars Battlefront II. I don't know how you guys felt about the first game. I thought it was one of the most beautiful, best-sounding Star Wars games ever made. But it was pretty empty in the beginning. A lot of the DLC was pretty good, but still it was a lot of additional content, additional costs. There's a big price wall there to get the true experience. So if you weren't a huge fan of the first one, I get that, and I don't always trust EA. But, well, we'll see what you guys think. Now, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, I would advise you go watch that before this, because I am going to be stopping at specific points. So I just want to make sure that you have, that can be kind of frustrating if you're trying to just watch it. So go watch it, come back, open a new tab, and come back and join us, all right? So you can go do that now. There's your chance. That's your cue. Your cue. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin this whole thing here.
I've waited 30 years for this.
So, most obvious thing, we are now in the third trilogy era. So we have the First Order versus the Resistance with the new Stormtroopers and all that stuff. So that was expected, but still a big deal.
I still remember my last orders. The day the real war began.
The rebellion cannot be allowed to persist.
Now, these guys right here, I had them. They are not TIE fighter pilots. So that was something when I first watched it, I was like, what are these TIE fighter pilots doing fighting? I mean, I assume if your TIE fighter crashes, you're probably dead in it. It's usually giant fireballs. But they're like a commando squad. I don't know that I love the look. They look too much like pilots to me. Their helmets are kind of big. I don't know. I'm weird. I just would prefer something else. Like, come up with something a little different. Because I don't think that they would make their commando dudes just look like TIE fighter pilots with some red paint on them. But, whatever. This is Jaden Urcio. We'll see her again here in a moment, and we'll talk about that. Let's go ahead and get to that point.
We weren't expecting special forces.
That's the point, Sergeant.
Impossible.
That is Eden Versio. Idenversio. So, excuse me, my throat here is bugging me. So we have a lot of new characters, probably a whole new cast. The single-player story is taking place from the point of view of an Imperial soldier, which is really exciting, and I really hope it's not one of these things where they make you think, okay, they're going to be Imperials, and then she turns into a rebel later on. That would be kind of disappointing. Like, I think it's a really unique take. I'm not going to get too excited. DICE has yet to prove to me that they can make a really compelling single-player story. They're just usually kind of lifeless. They usually just use recycled multiplayer maps. They're not designed as single player. They're very tacked on feeling most of the time. So I'm not going to get too pumped for this, but love the idea of seeing this from the Imperial perspective. And the cool thing is, this does pick up from right the end of Return of the Jedi, the destruction of the second Death Star, all the way to the creation, the foundation of the First Order, which is really cool. And I have a little bit of part here from the website. You played the role of Commander Iden Versio, leader of the Galactic Empire's Elite Special Forces Unit, Inferno Squad. So that's the name of the squad. After witnessing the destruction of the second Death Star, Iden's team embarks on an extraordinary odyssey of revenge, betrayal, and redemption, spanning the 30-year gap between Star Wars Return of the Jedi and Star Wars The Force Awakens. Along the way, she and her companions encounter a cast of Star Wars' greatest characters. You'll take control of many of these beloved heroes in an adventure ranging across a series of fantastic planets, including awe-inspiring settings you've never seen before. So there's a lot to unpack there. 30-year gap. So this is... If they're really going to put time behind this and an effort and make their... I really hope that this is not just multiplayer maps with, being ham-fisted into a single-player campaign, because if they take their time, this could be really cool. That's a long period of time, 30 years for a single-player campaign. So I don't know if they're going to do just chunks, like you're just going to see little bits throughout the years. That's a tough... 30 years is a tough amount of time to tell a single story in. So, but I'm excited. We're going to get to see a lot of the books that were written have been scrapped. There are a couple of books that take place in between. I've heard none of them are very good that are canon. This is a canon story, of course. So we're going to get to know this character. It's really cool. I wonder what they're saying here. We're going to encounter a cast of Star Wars' greatest characters. You'll take control of many of these beloved heroes. So you won't be playing as her the entire time, apparently. That's an interesting take. I don't know. Maybe that's going to help them push up their story. So maybe she'll encounter some of the, obviously not Vader. Who would you encounter? We don't really know. There could be any number of new villains. They'll say classic heroes. Most heroes, when I hear the word heroes, I think of the good guys. So we're going to see Luke. I know we're going to see Luke in this storyline, which maybe we'll see him in his academy. Maybe we'll see Kylo Ren. So there could be a number of things, a number of characters that we see. I'm really curious how they are going to interweave her story with notable character stories all in this 30-year-long story. Very, very intriguing, but I'm not going to hold my breath just because I don't trust this team yet for single player. Let's go ahead and continue.
Commander, what do we do now?
We avenge our Emperor.
Millennium Falcon. So we have the Millennium Falcon here. I can't really tell what planet this is. This could be any planet. That could be Naboo. I mean, there's like a really nice mansion-looking place in this lake, but it could be any planet, really. I'm assuming that's going to be Han Solo and Chewie still. This could be at any point after Return of the Jedi. Obviously, it has to be them, because otherwise you'd be traveling. It could be Lando. Maybe Lando still has the ship at one point. So there's a number of different characters who could be flying the ship at this time. But I'm going to assume it's Han and Chewie, which would be great to see them a little bit more, especially after the events of Force Awakens. So I don't know. But here we're sitting here seeing these TIE fighters shoot at it. So how are we going to be telling the story of this Imperial character, but still and be sympathetic to this character, make this character the protagonist, not the antagonist, and then have that character's enemies also in the story? Very, very curious. Maybe it's an alternating. You're seeing both sides of the tale. Could be something like that. But that's pretty cool. We get to see that. And also, I'm going to stop it here a little bit with the Emperor, of course, doing his voiceover.
Rebellion. You will burn these ideas.
Okay, so right there, what the Emperor did in canon Star Wars, he has these. They're like, I don't know if there's I haven't read the book with this in it, but I don't know if there's an actual dude in there. But even after his death, he's still around. He's like a worshipped character by the Imperials, and he has these pre-recorded like VI, so not artificial intelligence, like a virtual intelligence that's able to respond to questions and comments in a realistic way. and he manages to somehow convince his followers. You have to remember, just because the Death Star was destroyed, it's called the Galactic Empire for a reason. It's a galactic spanning empire. They control a lot of territory. So, yes, the Death Star was gone, Vader's gone, the Emperor's gone. You have forever wounded the Empire. But all of the armies are still there, all of the fleets are still there, all of them, probably billions, if not trillions of soldiers. It is an entire galaxy. We have 7 billion people on Earth in 2017. So it's probably like hundreds of billions of soldiers across the galaxy. So it's not like they're all just done and they're all just gone. They've been totally brainwashed into thinking that what they're doing is the right thing and that the rebellion is trying to bring back the chaos of the Old Republic. So it's going to be interesting to see the psychosis of this. I mean, if she's talking, and that's obviously not the actual Emperor, he is dead, but if she's talking to the Emperor here, in her mind, she must have been a really high-ranking official, or so many of her higher rankings died in the Battle of Endor that she's thrust into a position of power. Either way, a pretty compelling basis for a story about an Imperial soldier. So, if she's thinks that she's looking and talking directly to like a hologram of the Emperor, she's serious business among the Imperials. That's pretty cool.
Hope cannot save them.
Boom! That little shot. I'm assuming this is our character here, Eden or Iden. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's not a very good name, guys. You could have come up with a better name than that. Iden Versio, aiming her weapon. It might not be her. It could be one of her squad mates, but I'm going to assume it's her, aiming her weapon at Luke. He looks a little bit older, but he's still wearing his black robe, so maybe within 5 to 10 years afterward. I can't tell what planet this is on. Maybe, let's try again. This looks pretty volcanic back here, so it could be Solist or Mustafar, or who knows, it could be a new planet. But she's aiming her weapon at Luke here, and I think you can hear her yell, hold, so who knows what happens there. Obviously, Luke would kick her ass, so maybe they do say it's a story of redemption. Maybe she starts to go through a conflicted story between, Luke telling her what his point of view is and that Vader was his father. Who knows? Maybe he tells her and tries to recruit her to the other side, and she comes conflicted, and she's got, people she likes who are loyal to the Empire, and she starts meeting rebels. There's so many different ways you could take this story, but that right there says a lot. We're going to meet our character, or one of our characters is going to meet Luke face to face in this storyline.
Hope cannot save them.
Hope cannot save them. Oh, man. First person. So, First Order times, Tatooine. So, if you guys know me, you know Maul is my favorite Star Wars character. This is multiplayer only. I don't think he's going to show up in the single-player story, especially when what we're about to see. But that does bring us into prequel territory. They are going to be in prequels. In fact, they've even confirmed, EA has confirmed a battle at Kamino between the clones and the droids. The droids and clones will fight a battle in a multiplayer map. I don't know if there's going to be multiple maps for prequels. For a lot of you out there, you're like, oh, prequels fucking suck. Blah, 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 blah. The prequels are not great films. I'll be right there with anyone. They're pretty bad, actually. There's some good in there. There's a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of good Star Wars stuff in there. But yeah, as films, I don't think they're great. However, these are not films. I just dropped my cap in. These aren't films, guys. This is making use of what's awesome in those, the artwork and the art department and the concept and all of that of the prequels was amazing. I mean, Coruscant looked really cool. A lot of the planets were really creative. It was just, early bad CGI, which was good at the time, but has dated it to no end. Bad acting, bad, horrible script. None of those affect this video game at all. So I'm down. That's more content. We get the droids, Kamino, the clones. It's a whole nother branch of really cool Star Wars subject, that we didn't get to experience because Disney is too afraid to mess with the prequels. If anything, you can go back and not remake the films, but, a lot of people like them, and I have no problem with them being in this game. I can't wait to play as Darth Maul. Clone Troopers, the customization. There's going to be a lot of customization in this game. I'll read a little bit about that in here in a moment. No problem with that. I am so down to have prequel content. I hope they have prequel DLC that comes out later on. We can, like, Geonosis would be a cool battle to play. There's so much area and room for Battlefront to take place on. I don't care that the films are mediocre at best. They're still Star Wars, and there's still lots of really cool stuff from those films that would make an experience in Battlefront awesome. Especially with the beautiful DICE graphics. There's Yoda. There's Rey. Rideable Tauntauns. Fuck yes. Now, Kylo Ren has also quickly become one of my favorite Star Wars characters. You can't tell I like villains. A lot of people didn't love Adam Driver's performance. I loved Adam Driver's performance. I thought he's basically what Hayden Christensen should have been like. I think he did a way better job at showing grief and anger and anguish and frustration. I bought it a lot more, even though it's still immature, but that's the whole point. Guy's like 20 years old, and he's one of the most powerful Force users ever. That is not a mix for maturity. Anyways, I fucking love Kylo Ren, if you can't tell. And I can't wait to see. I feel like he's going to feel kind of like Darth Vader. He's a big, tall guy with the claymore of a lightsaber, so he got big, wide swings. I hope we get to play as him in the story. It would make sense because we're going to run into Luke, and this goes all the way up to Force Awakens. We know that what happened in Force Awakens with Luke's Academy, well, prior to Force Awakens. So he has a lot to do with that. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they use him in the story, but it's going to be fun to play with him in the multiplayer, too. I think he's a pre-order guy, though. Is he a fucking pre-order? I'd be so fucking pissed if he's a pre-order. Where is this? I just read this thing here. I was like, you gotta be joking me, right? I think it was on the homepage. I'm on the homepage of their website. Let me see here. Yeah, so it shows Kylo Ren's face here. Here, let me bring this over real quick. Kylo Ren. Pre-order bonus. Get special in-game rewards and the chance to dive in before the game is released worldwide when you pre-order any edition of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Pre-order for Star Wars The Last Jedi Heroes. Are you telling me that Kylo Ren is a Last Jedi hero? Because he was in Force Awakens. So I won't get too upset because it might just be bad marketing on their part and maybe he's in the base game, so I'm not going to freak out yet. But if I find out that Kylo Ren, one of the primary characters now in the saga, and in my opinion one of the more interesting, complex characters in the Star Wars saga, is in this game as pre-order bonus, we're going to have some words, EA. We're going to have some fucking words. I'll just say that for now. Alright, let's keep watching. Oh, that's the end of it. Boom. November 17th. I'm loving this with the games industry recently. I feel like Bethesda got this started with Fallout. Doesn't always work, but with a franchise like Star Wars, I'm down. April, announce it in April, launch it in November. That's so cool with me. I hate waiting a year. This game is obviously almost done. It'll have been 2 years since the release of the first one. That's plenty of time since you have this engine. I really believe they're going to be able to do better. I do believe in DICE as a whole. I think they're a fantastic game developer. I highly criticize their ability to do single player, but just in general, the expanded multiplayer. Join up to 40 players, massive multiplayer fights in authentic location across eras, revel in deep class-based... Here's the thing. Deep class-based online gameplay. The first game was not really class-based. It was just everyone had their own weapons. So if they're going to go more into a Battlefield direction, I am so excited. I think Battlefield, for me, is the premier first-person shooter multiplayer game. I love Battlefield 1. I'm still playing it. And if they're going to model the gameplay a little bit more after that, I am okay with that. I hope that they use like tanks in Battlefield 1 on the menu where you're deciding where you're going to spawn. There's just a little thing at the bottom saying if there's available tanks, planes, things of that nature, that you can just spawn into the map as a tank. I would prefer that than the stupid power-ups, because what happens with the power-ups is that some people begin to realize where they are. It's just a race to the power-ups. It's like, oh shit, I got beat to the power-up. Oh well. Whereas, yeah, it's sort of similar with Battlefield 1, but they regenerate. So I've always had the opportunity to be a tank driver. I usually don't. I like infantry better in Battlefield, but the opportunity is there way more often. The opportunity was available for me to be a hero or pilot a vehicle in Battlefront. I hated the power-up system. I hope they scrap that. I want this to be a carbon copy of Battlefield 1. Oh, sorry, my dogs are running in and making noise. I hope it's a carbon copy of Battlefield 1's kind of multiplayer suite, just as far as some of those details. That would be really, really exciting. What else have we got here? Single player. This is what we were talking about. We've already read, pretty much gone over that. Apparently, this is her home planet. I was reading. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. This is her home planet. Let's see here. Space battles. Wage war and spectacular space battle scenarios. Weave between asteroids, fly across Imperial dockyards, and take down massive capital ships. Pilot renowned craft like the Millennium Falcon or Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. Exciting dogfights up to 24 players. So they're going to go back to separating the two, which is great with me. And because they have the freedom of that 30-year time span, they can do just about any scenario they want. They're not forced to do the Death Star trench run or the battle above Endor. They can do anything they want, and I hope they expand a lot more on what we're seeing. We needed more space battles. The first fucking space battle we got in a Star Wars Battlefront game from EA was the Death Star one, I'm pretty sure. And that was like the third DLC. Come on, guys. So they're coming right out. They're just doing everything they should have done the first time. So depending on how you feel about that, if you feel like EA doesn't deserve my money because they fucked up and they barely gave me anything in the first game, I get that. If you're on the other end, you're like, well, they're doing it right here. If you're voting with your wallet, you should support Battlefront 2 because this is the way we want it. They've got everything up front coming out with DLC. Now, I'm more than willing to purchase DLC that expands the game if I feel that you gave me $60 worth of content in the first place. So I'm struggling whether I'm going to get this on day one or not. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get this on day one. I think I probably will. Just because I really do think if they're taking the Battlefield 1 approach, this is going to be a great game. This is going to be a Game of the Year contender. The first game was not a Game of the Year contender. There was just not enough content there. I ran into some bugs. I didn't like some of the gameplay tweaks. I just had too many issues with it. But it was still a beautiful Star Wars game, and obviously I'm a sucker for Star Wars. It's you guys know this. It's one of the most important fictional experiences for me. It's an art thing, as far as nostalgia, growing up with stuff. Everyone has those things that have really been pillars of their life, and Star Wars is one of those for me. So that's the case for many, many, many of you out there. It's why Star Wars was sold to Disney for $4 billion. It's nostalgia can be worth more than gold, it turns out, and I think they're going to do it. They're doing a great job of keeping with what the classic Star Wars trilogy. Look at this: regular TIE Fighter, X-Wing. They're going to expand on so much more content. They're drawing from so much more now that I think that this game is going to be full and complete. We got to look and see how it looks and plays. I hope they do a beta. I'll play a beta. We'll do a beta preview or review, whatever, and that's when we'll check in next. But November 17th, it's looking good. It's looking exciting. Single-player story, expanded multiplayer, class-based system, character customization, multiple eras. This is the Battlefront that we wanted from EA, and I do believe in DICE's ability to deliver that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to have a discussion about Star Wars. I'll go talk about Star Wars all fucking day. And are you going to buy it day one? You going to wait? You need to see more? Are you too too burned, too jaded of a lover from the original Battlefront, which was kind of a disappointment. I want to hear all of your thoughts encompassing this game, this announcement, just the weekend in general. What do you think of the Last Jedi trailer, which I can't do a review or preview of because Disney, I guess. So, yeah, I want to hear everything. Join me. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and I hope to see you soon. And anytime we get a big announcement from this game, I'll be on it. All right, guys. Later.